In recent years, China has invested in and built many port facilities overseas, such as Gwadar Port in Pakistan, Hambantota Port in Sri Lanka, and Kyaukphyu Port in Myanmar. According to statistics, these ports not only handle hundreds of millions of tons of cargo every year, but also greatly promote China's economic development. But when China planned to invest $80 billion in building the world's largest royal port in Malaysia, U.S. officials proposed sanctions bills in an attempt to force Malaysia to abandon this cooperation through economic pressure. Not only that, Singapore, as the economic powerhouse in Southeast Asia, has also brought considerable pressure to Malaysia. This makes us very curious. Why does this port encounter strong opposition from the United States and Singapore? What benefits can it bring to China? Before discussing the answer to the question, let's first take a look at the cooperation project between China and Malaysia Huangjing Port. This port is located in Malacca City, Malaysia, covering an area of 1,366 acres, with a total investment of an astonishing $80 billion. According to the plan, the port will have a world-class deepwater terminal, logistics center, and Linhai Industrial Park, and will become an important hub for global cargo transportation and trade, thereby becoming the world's largest port. It is worth mentioning that Huangjing Port is not only a logistics node, but also a comprehensive project integrating modern commerce and culture. The main reason is that the International Fashion District will bring together 450 stores to provide tourists and local residents with diverse consumer experiences. In the future, it will be Asia's largest luxury yacht marina and is expected to become a new gathering place for the world's rich and famous, showcasing the nobility and luxury of Huangjing Port. As for why it was opposed by the United States and Singapore before completion, there are actually many reasons. First of all, we need to be clearly aware that as China's national power increases, the geopolitical competition between China and the United States is becoming increasingly fierce. Considering that the completion of Huangjing Port will bring about an efficient logistics system and convenient transportation network, it will attract more international goods from all over the world to be distributed here. An economics professor at Oxford University in the United States said that Huangjing Port will become an important logistics hub connecting China and Southeast Asia and promote the process of Asian economic integration. But this change may also pose a challenge to the United States' position in the global trading system, as more trade activities will bypass the United States and proceed directly through Huangjing Port. This will undoubtedly bring huge geopolitical competition pressure to the United States. What worries the United States most is that Malaysia allows China to use Huangjing Port as a military docking station. Although China and Malaysia have always emphasized that Huangjing Port is a purely commercial project without any military purpose, the United States is obviously skeptical. After all, Huangjing Port could become a springboard for China to expand its military influence in Asia, thereby posing a threat to its security interests in the region. In fact, this concern is not unfounded. In recent years, the increase in China's overseas military presence has become a fact that cannot be ignored. As a strategic port, the military value of Huangjing Port is self-evident. For Singapore, a country that started out as a dock, the value of a natural deepwater port is self-evident. According to statistics, in 2019, Singapore's container throughput reached 31 million TEUs, of which about 20% of the cargo was transshipped through the Strait of Malacca. However, the construction of Huangjing Port is like a time bomb, posing a threat to Singapore's status as a transshipment center. Because once Huangjing Port is completed and put into use, it is expected that at least 30% of the transshipment business will be transferred from Chinese ports. This means that Singapore may lose up to 9 million TEUs of throughput every year, causing a huge impact on its economy. What worries Singapore even more is that the construction of Huangjing Port may attract more ships to dock and repair. Ships that originally chose the port of Singapore to provide these services may now turn to the Royal Port, which will undoubtedly further weaken Singapore's position as a transshipment center. In response to this challenge, Singapore has repeatedly raised freight rates for Malaysian merchant ships in an attempt to prevent the construction of Kong-Zhuhai Port through economic means. Unfortunately, these efforts do not seem to have yielded results, and the construction of Kyaukphyu Port is still in full swing. As far as I know, the construction of Kyaukphyu Port started on October 19, 2017, and is expected to be completed in 2025. So, what impact will it have on China after its completion? As the world's largest energy consumer, China imports more than 500 million tons of oil from overseas every year. At present, China's oil imports mainly rely on the Middle East. But most oil must be transported through the Strait of Malacca, which has long been controlled by the United States. This situation poses a huge challenge to China's energy security. However, the construction of Kyaukphyu Port will open up a new oil import channel for China and reduce its dependence on the Strait of Malacca. This change will significantly reduce China's energy security risks and provide more stable energy security for its economic development. On the other hand, in recent years, most of China's shipping has been carried out through the port of Singapore. However, Singapore has continuously increased port usage fees in recent years from $45 to $90 per container, and sometimes deliberately extended the docking time of cargo ships, resulting in a significant increase in China's trade costs. Faced with this almost extortionate charging method, China feels helpless. But once Kyaukphyu Port is completed, it will provide China with a new trade channel, reduce its dependence on the port of Singapore, and is expected to save countries hundreds of millions of dollars in expenditure every year. This funding can be used to support China's economic development and trade activities, thereby further promoting domestic economic progress.